Come On by Pushing Daisies. That is the official Grey Cup song as we get set for the 3-minute drill. All right, Sean Millington first. You won a Grey Cup with Steve Barato in BC. Your reaction to his firing in Calgary?
Well, it is a little surprising, Elliot, but Steve Barato does run some complicated schemes, and at times this year, Henry Burris hasn't looked very comfortable running them. So you say to yourself, if I'm the GM in Calgary, I've got Henry Burris, I've got Steve Barato. Henry Burris is making a lot more money than Steve Barato is, so Steve's the one to go.
What I would say, I'm surprised by the timing of this, because really when you come out and make an aggressive firing right at the end, right after a disappointing loss, it looks emotional. What I would have done is come out and make a strong statement to the fans, and then as things simmer down, go through due diligence, the process, and potentially do that a couple weeks later.
I don't like the timing of it, but if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. Now, I don't think this says anything about Steve Barato as an offensive coordinator. I think he's very good, but you have to design your offense around the players that you have, and those players aren't going to change, so you have to change the coordinator.
All right, second Calgary question. Kahari, you first. At age 31, Henry Burris facing a bit of a crossroads with 7 days to look back. What does he have to do to take the next step as a quarterback?
I think the biggest thing Henry needs to do is really watch the films of this season and analyze. He has to look at himself. He has to be very critical of himself and say, hey, what do I need to do to improve? Because there's always time for improvement, and 31 is not very old as a quarterback.
I would say don't overanalyze. You want to look at the tapes, but you got to keep erasing the negative. What I saw in his eyes the day before the game last week is this level of intensity. He just got to calm down. Every quarterback has to deal with criticism, and in the big game, his emotions get the best of him, and he needs to be able to mature.
I think Henry's been one of those quarterbacks, guys, who's relied, a fair bit on his athleticism, on his legs, and I think that for him to take the next step, he's got to get a little bit more cerebral, be able to make sure that he's making the correct reads downfield and not depend on his legs as much.
Henry Burris is one of the sport's great guys, and you want to see him be able to pick up from this and succeed. Final question, we'll start with you, Greg. Should Roy Shivers be on the field today as the Rough Riders face the Lions?
Well, and ultimately, Roy Shivers will be probably in the tunnel in here because he's not going to be a distraction on the sidelines. The reality is he probably didn't want to buy a ticket. He called up his good friend Wally Buono and said, how can you get me into this game? So he's not going to be a distraction, but you know what, coming in here while Saskatchewan is on the sidelines playing BC,
that's a no, I think. Sean?
Yes, Roy Shivers should be on the sidelines. He is in a large way responsible for a lot of these players being here. He's put this team together, and I think this is his baby. He wants to see the fruition. He wants to see his kid grow up and, make it to the dance, and that's why I think he should be on the field.
Gary?
I agree with Sean. This is a team effort, and Roy Shivers had a lot to do with this team and the makeup. Thank you. And everything that Sean said is right this time.
Wow.
I'll leave it at that.
Wow, Millington's going to wear that sign, everything I say is right, for a while. There are also reports, by the way, that Casey Printers will be here as well watching this afternoon's game as Kansas City team is in Miami, but he's not on the roster. All right, let's go back to Montreal. A few minutes away from kickoff, about 10 minutes, so set it up again. Here is Scott Russell. Scott?
Right, Elliot, the noise is picking up here in the Big O as we continue to march on towards the East Championship. You mentioned the presence of running back Eric Lapointe in the Alouette lineup. He comes back after being away 4 weeks, a broken fibula. He says he's game ready to go. He's a big game player last year. 3 touchdowns against the Argos in the East Final. There go the Skyrockets. You know what? His presence in the Alouette lineup may mean less work for all-star receiver Ben Cahoon, but Cahoon says in today's CFL, where patience is a virtue, that's okay.
It's critical to beating the Argonauts. You've got to be patient, take what they give you. stay with the run, take your shots when you have opportunities with the passing game, and avoid turnovers. If you can do that, you know, then it turns into a field position battle.
There's Ben Cahoon, 99 receptions, 1,190 yards in the air for the Alouettes this season. He and Kerry Watkins may get most of the work in the passing attack, but watch for Robert Edwards to pound away, run the ball over and over again against the Argos. Elliot?
Thanks, Scott. And lots of rumors about Ben Cahoon. He's a free agent at the end of this year. Will he go west to be closer to his family, which is based in Utah? Okay, time for panel picks. The red-hot Sean Millington, 2-0 last week, and we start with the West, Sean.
Okay, sure, Elliot. Put me right on the spot. Well, I'm going with BC, and I think this is a great matchup for BC in that I think that their players have the edge over the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I'm going with BC just because I feel they're just that much stronger.
Well, I'm picking BC as well. The West Coast boys picking BC. Surprise, surprise. But because I believe that the BC Lions defense understands they have to contain Kenton Keith. Kenton Keith is a streaky runner. Of the 141 yards that he accumulated last week against the Calgary Stampeders, 90 of those yards came on 2 carries. And so you can't give them a crease, gap cancellation, and they understand how to do that.
Well, I'm going to disagree with both of you. I'm going to go with Saskatchewan this game. I like the emotion of this team. Now, lining up both of these teams together, I think most people would probably pick BC, but you cannot discount the emotion that Saskatchewan shows. I really liked it in Calgary, and I think they'll show the same today.
Tough decision for me, too. Very close to call, but I go with BC. And just the reason is Saskatchewan did a great job of forcing Henry Burris into mistakes last week. I think Dave Dickinson will avoid that, and that's why I like the Lions in this game. Okay, East, Sean.
Well, I'm going to have to say Toronto, Elliot. And actually, for much the same reasons that Kahari chose Saskatchewan, I feel that the emotion is on Toronto's side. I mean, on paper, I would say that the Alouettes might be a little bit stronger, but I just think Toronto has managed to find a way to win every game that they should have lost this season. So I can't bet against them.
Well, I'm picking Toronto as well because the Toronto defense understands that they cannot allow Robert Edwards to be a downhill runner. They have to make it bounce, get him to the sidelines, make him a lateral runner. They win that battle, and that's why I believe that the defense of Toronto is going to be very sound against the Montreal Alouettes.
And I'm going to have to agree with you guys on this one. I'm going to go with Toronto. I feel like Damon is due for a bounce-back game. Damon is one of those kind of quarterbacks that once you count him out, he makes things happen. I think he'll be using his legs today, and I'm looking for a big game from him.
Bad news for Saskatchewan and Toronto. Kahari is 0 for the season so far in making his picks. I go with Montreal. Anthony Calvillo is the Alouette play caller, and he is the one guy this year who's shown he's patient enough to continue running the football. They did it a couple weeks ago until the Argonauts can stop Edwards and LaPointe. Personally, I feel Montreal has to be the pick. We are done. It is time for the players to take over. We will send you momentarily to Montreal, the Argonauts and the Alouettes. It's Steve Armitage, Darren Flutie, Scott Russell. Enjoy the games, everybody.
You may not realize it, but there's a source of renewable energy right in your neighborhood, and you're helping to power it. Today, Waste Management is using the resources at our disposal to create energy from waste. Enough green energy to power over 1 million homes. From everyday collection to environmental protection, think green, think Waste Management.
There's more to Dodge Charger than legendary performance. More gas savings with a choice of 2 fuel-efficient V6 engines. More security with an electronic stability program, anti-lock brakes, airbags, and 5 stars, the highest government frontal crash test rating. Even an available DVD system. The 2006 Dodge Charger, a new kind of family car for your kind of family. Unleash the most rewarding family car on the road. Only at your Dodge retailer.
How much do I like Pete? I got him an MP3 phone that holds 1,000 songs. Help! Who knows what he's into? Joey. They totally have the same taste in music. Never heard any of Eddie's tunes before, but he knows his stuff. Track down Maya. She adds her own special touch. Impressing Pete wasn't so hard. All it took was 1,000 songs, a few good friends, and, well, me to make the first move. La, 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 la.
Deja vu all over again for the 5th time in as many years. It's the Argos and Alouettes in the battle for Eastern supremacy. The CFL on CBC. Last week, the Bombers appeared to be in command, shocking the Boatmen. Pinball needed a spark and made a gutsy move. It paid off. The Argos took control, and they're now in the East Championship to face a very familiar foe.
The QB heads to the end zone. Touchdown. Now Calvillo has been shaken up.
Two teams seemingly destined to be in this battle. The Alouettes and the Argos will fight it out one more time as a rivalry in its 5th year takes on epic proportions. A trip to the Cup, the prize once again. Welcome to the Olympic Stadium and the Scotiabank East Championship. The winner goes to Winnipeg. The loser hangs up the gear. It's a rivalry that goes back to 1946 and never gets old. Argos and Alouettes. 2 weeks ago, Anthony Calvillo took one from the Argos to grab first place and earn the bye. Damon Allen, who's won 4 cups by his standards, did not have a good semifinal. Does the 43-year-old have something to prove after being pulled? Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Armitage along with Darren Flutie, and welcome to the Scotiabank East Championship. Well, last week the Argos beat Winnipeg, but they didn't stop Charles Roberts. Today they face a good running back in Robert Edwards.
They sure do. Roberts torched him for 179 last week, and Robert Edwards, he's the 3rd best rushing back in the CFL this year with his 1,155 yards. He's a different style back than Roberts, though. He's more of a pounded up the middle, 4, 5, 6, 7 yards a carry, as they say, in a cloud of dust, or in the case today at the Big O, in a cloud of turf. And 2 weeks ago, in the big win over the Argos, which clinched the East, he had 19 carries for 93 yards in that big 8-yard touchdown late in the game that sealed the victory. He needs to have an effective game today, over 100 yards, for these Alouettes to win today.
Now the Argos can counter with what has turned out to be a pretty good combination in Ricky Williams and John Avery.
Yeah, it's a great combination. I mean, coming into the season, Ricky Williams was expected to be at least a 1,000-yard rusher. Well, that hasn't happened, and a lot of reasons. Maybe injuries, certainly lack of performance at times. But since these two have been in the backfield together, which has been since week 15, they played 5 football games. They've rushed for 466 yards and averaged 5.6 yards to carry. That's very good. And in that game 2 weeks ago, they had 25 carries for 134 yards. They have a game like that today that takes a lot of pressure off Damon Allen.
All right, without further ado, let's go to Darren Flutie's Rona Game Notes.
Yeah, and Tony Miles is back into the game for the Argos offensively. Miles to go. Tony Miles back in, and also this offense needs to get better. They haven't played well this year. Defensively for the Argos, don't overreact. Have to be patient. Calvillo in the receiving corps wants to do a lot of double moves, a lot of looking right, then throwing back to the left. Be patient if you're on the Argos defense. With Montreal offensively in the line of fire, the offensive line has come under fire this year. They need to play extremely well today. Protect Calvillo, open those holes for Robert Edwards. Defensively for the Alouettes, hit them with your best shot. They need hits on the quarterback. Damon Allen, indoor, Michael Bishop.
Perfect conditions for the opening kickoff here under the dome at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Avon Coburn returning for the Owls. Crosses to the 33-yard line, which will be pretty good position for Anthony Calvillo and the Montreal Alouettes with their first possession in this Scotiabank East Championship. Expecting a crowd of around 34,000 here in Montreal this afternoon. Let's hope it's as noisy as it was in Rogers Centre in Toronto last week, where the Argos knocked off the Blue Bombers. 1st and 10 for Montreal. Around the 33. And they haven't even had a snap, and we got our first whistle.
Don't know what this could be early on. Maybe something with the clock or something with the sidelines.
Referee today is the veteran John Ireland.
It's exactly what happened. They didn't start the clock for the opening kickoff, and now they're going to take off about 11 seconds.
Fourth meeting of the season between these two traditional rivals. Montreal won the opener 31-7. Toronto came back to take the second game 31-6. And then Montreal 2 weeks ago took first place with a 24-20 win over the Argos. Robert Edwards. Let's take a look at that Montreal offensive lineup.
Oh, offensively for the Alouettes, you're going to see a lot of that guy right there, Robert Edwards. He had the big game 2 weeks ago. 19 carries, 93 yards. You need to establish Edwards in this run game. The receiving core, well, a bit criticized, but Ben Cahoon, anytime you have Ben Cahoon out there, you have a threat. This offensive line needs to come together today. Brian Chu is certainly banged up at the center position.
2nd and 8 from the 34. Flags go down. Whistles are blown. Let's hope we're not going to have one of these kind of games.
Well, Okeke at left tackle looked like he jumped. Don't know if anyone was in the neutral zone before he jumped. Yeah, that's Okeke at left tackle. And you talked about the noise. The noise is playing a factor for both sides, and he's right here at left tackle. It did look like Toronto had crossed the neutral zone. Jonathan Brown or England were both in the neutral zone. But hey, it's called on Montreal, puts them in a real tough second down position.
2nd and 13, which is what AC wanted to avoid. Long second downs. Fires over the middle. He's complete. He's got a man open. Kerry Watkins down inside the 35-yard line.
Well, that's some beginning for the Alouettes. I mean, you don't expect to throw the ball well against the Argos. You usually only get a few opportunities, but here we are early. 2nd and 13, we see the whole field. Throws the in route to Watkins, and he does the rest. Cliff Ivory in coverage. Cliff Ivory had a tough day last week against Winnipeg also. That's a matchup to watch. There's a difference between Kerry Watkins last year and this year. You know, pretty consistent. He's one of the guys that did repeat as a 1,000-yard receiver.
A 47-yard pickup, and they give to number 47, Mr. Edwards.
You know, it's interesting because everyone expects the Alouettes to come out with Robert Edwards and try to establish the run after Charles Roberts torched him for 179 last week. But hey, don't forget Anthony Calvillo's back there, and they got some pretty good receivers. Cahoon, Watkins, Terrence Edwards. And they control the football.
A gain of 3. 2nd and 7, Montreal from the 30. Calvillo underthrows his intended target. Kerry Watkins again. Let's check that Argo defense.
Well, here's the Argo defense, and well, you got to point out Eric England along that defensive line. Had the 7 tackles last week in the sack. He's playing like a man possessed through the last 5-6 games. The linebacking core, great cover guys. Winters still in for Antonio Espano. Had the great fumble calls last week on Roberts. And there's the secondary. We saw Ivory early get burnt, but this is a great secondary. Parker, Younger, and Wheaton. They got 6 touchdowns between that secondary.
Damon Duval on to try a field goal. He was good on 51 of 59 in the regular season, as long as 50 yards. And that one is good. So the Alouettes draw first blood in this Scotiabank East Championship here in Montreal with a field goal from Damon Duval.
That's a great first drive if you're an Alouette fan, just to move the ball from your own end. And of course, it's one big play to Watkins. But again, those seem to be so rare against this Argo secondary to get those big plays. So to take advantage of it, get 3 points out of it, that's a great start for the Alouettes.
Always a key in the big games. When you get in scoring position, leave with something on the board, whether it be a single, a field goal, preferably a major score. But never come away empty.
Yeah, in the game 2 weeks ago, it was 24-20. So, you know, touchdowns aren't easy to come by with these defenses, especially the Argos. They're a low-scoring offensive team. So you put 3 up, already you got some pressure on the Argos.
And the Argos have struggled in the opening quarter throughout the course of the regular season. Damon Allen, the veteran, who was pulled by the head coach, Michael Clemens, last week against Winnipeg. Michael Bishop came in, went 3 for 3, put up 111 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that was the difference. And Mr. Allen did not like that decision.
Now, like any great football player, he never likes to be pulled out of a game and always feels he can come back and play well.
Bashir Livingston at the 10. Crosses the 20, is forced back, and then dropped down at the 15-yard line. Good special teams downfield coverage from the Alouettes. It's a 12-yard return.
Dwayne Butler, the great defensive player, in on the tackle for special teams. But I think the fear was that the Alouettes having the bye week, finishing first. And there's Butler getting to him early, getting him inside the 20, which is just huge field position. Maybe that they wouldn't come out fired up, right? They had the week off. The Argos have been in some tough games. You figured they'd be more ready than the Alouettes. Well, early on, it doesn't appear that way.
The Argos start from their own 18-yard line, trailing 3-0. Give up the middle, Ricky Williams. And Williams close to the first down.
This is why I'm starting to get excited about Williams and Avery in the backfield. I mean, they're running the ball so much better. And you watch Ricky on this one, I think it's Strickland, and just one-on-one. He's got to make this tackle, and Ricky Williams, like every great back, makes a miss and picks up that big first down.
Damon Allen. His stats from this year, remember he missed 6 games. A broken finger on his throwing hand. They give to John Avery, and Avery should have the first down. Let's take a look at that Argos offense that has been consistent this season.
Yeah, well, we talked about the dynamic duo back there, Williams and Avery, and they've been so effective over the past 5 games. Look for them to establish the run today. The receiving core that played well, Palmer, big touchdown catch. But hey, Tony Miles is back in the lineup to take pressure off Arlan Bruce. Up front, watch Cliff Washburn at right tackle. He's in for Davis, who's hurt with the rib injury. That's going to be a key spot against Arkel Trueluck all day.
Allen out of the shotgun. Fires over the middle, and there was nobody there. Closest to the ball was an Alouette defender. He was looking for Andre Talbot.
Well, they brought pressure, and we talked about it in the game notes. You've got to get your hits on Damon Allen. No quarterback likes to get hit, but especially a veteran like Damon Allen. Watch the blitz come from up top. There's Strickland just as he's releasing it, and he's lucky that didn't get intercepted. There's the blitz from the top of your screen, and Strickland and Butler are so quick off the edge. You don't have that 2 seconds to throw it. You really got like 1, 1 1/4, 1 1/2, and you got to get rid of it.
So that brings Noel Prefontaine, the Argo punter. Averaged 46.3 yards per punt during the regular season. In 6 punts against the Bombers in the semifinal, averaging 45 yards. Low spiral, taken on the run by Coburn, and Coburn is dropped at the 45-yard line. You're watching the Scotiabank East Championship from Montreal.
The Scotiabank Championships on CBC are brought to you by Scotiabank, proud to cheer on the CFL. By the all-new 2007 GMC Sierra, professional grade. And by Future Shop, Canada's #1 destination for big screen TVs.
Welcome to Ask an Expert. Chris from Edmonton writes, I want to surprise the family with a flat panel TV. Should I go plasma or LCD? Hey, Chris. Both plasma and LCD make a great gift, but the lighting in your room and how close you sit to the TV...
I'm not Chris, she is.
Surprise!
There's never been a better time to buy a plasma or LCD TV. Future Shop. Cool gifts, expert advice.
Okay, who took my pudding?
Thanks a lot, Barry. Team player.
A special welcome this close to Remembrance Day to our Canadian troops serving overseas and to our U.S. viewers from coast to coast in places like Boston, Chicago, San Francisco, Seattle, Denver, and Tampa Bay. Good to have you with us. You're watching the CFL on CBC. 1st and 10 for the Owls. Calvillo pumps once. He's got a man open over the middle. It is complete. Jeff Piercy found a seam, and Anthony Calvillo found Piercy.
Yeah, this is that double move I talked about. He's pumping it to the slot back and then hitting the fullback right up the seam. This is what we were talking about. Argos love to jump that stuff, right? They're so aggressive on jumping routes. And Kenny Wheaton burned by the Piercy there at fullback. You got to be patient and stay back.
A gain of 30. 1st and 10 Owls from the Argos 36. Dumped over the middle. Edwards still on his feet. Edwards finally down at the 15-yard line.
Well, boy, obviously, like every week, the Alouettes come in with a plan, but a good, very good game plan early in this game. A little bit of Edwards running, a little bit out of the backfield, some big completions to both Piercy and Watkins. A lot of variety. That's what you have to do against defenses, so they can't focus on one guy.
AC, early stats, 3 for 4 for 96 yards. 1st down, he's got a man open again, complete. Just outside the 10-yard line to Kerry Watkins.
I think you're seeing the patience of Anthony Calvillo early in this football game. He said, he even admitted, he goes, at times I'm not patient, but I have to be patient with the Argonauts because they're not always going to give you that big play. We got to run the ball well, and we got to use our short passing game to be effective, and that's what we've seen early in this football game.
2nd and 2 for Montreal from the 10-yard line. Again, it's Robert Edwards up the middle. Very little running room against a defense that has given up a lot of yards running in the last 2 games, 329 to be exact.
Oh yeah, but this is what he does well, right? They're 2nd and 3, 2nd and 2. He's that tough runner inside that can pick up the short yardage. I think they may be a little bit short. A big decision here. I would think they'd go for it. But of course they made the 1st down, so they don't have to go for it. And this is a big drive. We talked about that field goal being huge on the 1st drive. As we look at Jim Pop, and I mean, the offensive coordinators are dual offensive coordinators, Kevin Strasser and Steve McAbee. They need to come away with 7 this time.
Jim Pop now 2-2 as the Alouettes head coach since taking over from Don Matthews late in the season. 1st and goal for the Owls. The ball at the 7, double tight. It's a fumble, and the Argos are there. A big turnover puts the ball in the arms of the Toronto Argonauts. The Owls lead 3-0.
Hi, Chris.
Hello.
You're watching the Scotiabank East Championship, the CFL on CBC.
Well, a huge play early in this football game. Big turnover. Watch Eric England come down inside, then Fletcher over the top, and that's what Calvillo's reading. When he sees England come down, he thinks he's going to keep it, and then he sees Fletcher loop, and I think at the last second, he tries to give it to Edwards, so he's indecisive. It's called a Sally Ram, where Calvillo has the option whether to give or boot it around the end, and that stunt made him indecisive on that play.
1st and 10, Argos from their own 9. They give to Williams. Williams lowers his shoulder, crosses the 15-yard line where he's knocked out of play. Perhaps seeing the former star from the NFL for the last time in the Canadian Football League, should the Argos lose this one.
Yeah, look at what he's done for the season. Again, since Williams and Avery have been together, they've rushed the ball extremely well the last 5 football games, and you can tell early Ricky Williams is running the ball well. He just picked up 7 yards on 1st down, puts you in a great 2nd and 3.
Tony Miles into the game for the Argos. 2nd and 3, and a flag is thrown. Looks like procedure.
Yeah, offensively, been a little bit ugly early. So 13 guys in the huddle. You can't play with 13, right? Or one has to run off the field, and that is illegal. Illegal substitution. So a little unorganized early. I mean, maybe a little bit of nerves, certainly. You're in the East Final. This is the game that gets you to the Grey Cup. Both a little sluggish early.
Jason Gavadsta, picked up by the Argos earlier this week, is into the ball game. 2nd and 11 from the 8-yard line. Allen, quick toss, Talbot, and Talbot is taken out at about the 12-yard line. He needed to get just shy of the 20 for the 1st down.
I think you're going to see the Argos go this way a lot, right at right field, the weak side corner, and this is a good play in your own end. You don't pick up the 1st down, but you give yourself a little more space. If Talbot could have broken a tackle and pick up 3 more yards, they could have got the 1st, but hey, get 10 more yards, punt it away, and play your good defense that you're known for.
So Prefontaine comes on for his 2nd punt. Got a 38-yarder the first time he kicked it. One of the better punters in the CFL. Obviously not kicking away, but he gets a good bounce and it goes out of play. I want you to log on to cbc.ca Warrior to cast your vote for the Warrior of the Year. GMC is giving away 2 trucks, one for you and one for the player.
Prefontaine is struggling with his punting early. That's usually a given for the Argonauts. They play so well on special teams, and they utilize his ability to punt it so well to win the battle of field position. Not happening so far.
1st and 10 L's from the 48-yard line. They give to Robert Edwards. And again, there's very little running room in the middle of that Argo defense.
Well, you can see the difference from a week ago. It's not what Winnipeg did with Charles Roberts. He's quicker than Edwards is. He's a little shiftier. But this will wear on an Argo defense that's not very good versus the run. There's Fletcher coming down the line from outside linebacker to make the tackle. But it'll wear on you. Remember the last time these guys played 2 weeks ago, it was the 2nd half that Edwards had, not the 1st half, that made the difference.
Mike O'Shea said 2 things: close the gaps and make the tackles. 2nd and 8. And that ball is tipped. It's up. It's picked off. The Argos have it. Another turnover. First a fumble and now an interception.
Oh, it's Orlando Steinhauer making the interception. When he's down in there, you know it's a 0 coverage, which means he's coming out of the middle of free safety, no one deep. And Calvillo talked about this. He goes, we don't really have a hot adjustment on that. We just throw our slants, and that's our hot route. Well, the Argos know that. And the Argos are known for jumping those routes. And there it is again. They get a hand on it, deflected up in the air, and Steinhauer gets the interception.
And what did Steinhauer tell us yesterday?
He talked about this Montreal offense being just like the Winnipeg offense, but without the big weapons. without the Stiegels, without the Armstrongs, without the Charles Roberts. So a bit of a profit early.
1st and 10 Argos. Allen, complete. Tony Miles with his first catch of the game. Pinball Clemens on the sidelines for the Argos. Saw first place slip away 2 weeks ago to the Owls and still remembers the 6 turnovers that cost the Argos a trip to the Grey Cup last year to the same Alouettes.
Yeah, and also Eric Lapointe, who's dressed for this game after missing 4 weeks with a broken fibia. He played a big role in that game in the second half with his 3 touchdowns.
2nd and 3, Toronto. Something he only did 25 times over the course of the regular season this year, running the ball.
So important in the Canadian Football League to have a mobile quarterback, and of course Damon Allen's been known for his mobility throughout his career. And here you go, it's 2nd and 8. This is a designed run. It's not like he's looking to throw and scrambling. It's a quarterback draw, and when you can do that on 2nd and 8, 2nd and 10, and still pick up a first down, wow, it really keeps the defense on their heels and not knowing what to expect.
15-yard pickup. 1st and 10, Toronto from the 36. John Avery up the middle. Let's take a look at that Montreal defense.
Defensively up front, Adriano Belli back from Hamilton after going to Hamilton for a while, but Stewart, 9 sacks for the season at defensive end. There's that linebacker. Strickland, I just think, is such a key for this defense. We've seen him early on the blitz, and that secondary, Brightful's the guy they're going to pick on, but besides that, a real solid secondary.
2nd and 6, Toronto from the Owls, 32. Allen puts it up, complete to Tony Miles, and Miles tried to step back in, but I think the force of the throw took him out of play.
This is really important from an Argos standpoint to get Tony Miles involved in the game, and it's just one-on-one as you look at him down weak side, and that's where they're going to go. They're going to pick on the weak side corner again and again. I mean, this time it's Estelle in for Brightful, but still, whether it's Brightful or Estelle, that's who they're going to go at, and they're going to go at him with Tony Miles.
They move it down to the 24-yard line, where the Argos are now 1st and 10. They trail 3-0. And it was Williams getting the call, but tripping over something.
Well, this is what we used to say. The turf monster got him on this one. Just reached up and grabbed his foot. You don't see that from Ricky Watts. Grabs him right. Oh, no, Damon Allen's foot. Tripped over Damon Allen's foot. Big drive, though, after, try to capitalize. We'll see it again. He steps right on Damon's right foot on the draw play, but just come away with points after getting that fumble recovery.
There are 2 artificial playing surfaces like this in the CFL. One here, one in Regina. Regina is going to field turf next year. I don't think they're going to change here at the Big O. Allen has a man wide open. Arland Bruce III down just shy of the 15-yard line.
And there's a great option. Again, I'm not a big fan of throwing the ball short of the first down markers because you never know how quickly you're going to get tackled as a receiver. But if you're going to do it, Arland Bruce is a great guy to get the ball in his hands. Comes close to picking up the first down, but still a yard or 2 short of the first down, going to force him into a field goal situation. But a great drive by the Argos, great drive.
Bruce had 4 catches for 138 yards in their win over the Bombers in the East semifinal. That brings on Prefontaine to try the field goal. Good on 31 of 42 over the course of the regular season. His longest is 52. Hit on 3 of 4 last week against Winnipeg. And that's a chip shot. So the Argos have tied the game here at the Olympic Stadium at 3.
Welcome back. Today we're going to learn some gift wrapping tips. Let's start with a Future Shop gift card. First, we'll need a pen. There. But the shape might give it away. So, to really surprise someone, put it in a box. That'll keep them guessing.
Future Shop. Cool gifts, expert advice.
Is it because of the Corvette Z06, Canada's most coveted vehicle, or that every car gives at least 33 highway miles per gallon, 8.6 liters per 100 kilometers? Maybe Equinox, with the highest possible safety rating. Or Chevy trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks. Or HHR's great new design. It's all these things that make Chevrolet what it is, the #1 selling brand in Canada.
What'd you get?
Junior chicken sandwich.
Yeah, I saw this thing on TV. It says that chickens can run like 15 kilometers an hour.
No, there's no way a chicken can run that fast.
Yes, it can. I saw it.
All right, let's see. And go.
Dude, that's not gonna...
The Junior Chicken. It's got people talking. Just $1.39 any day you want it. Part of our Value Picks menu.
You're watching the Scotiabank East Championship, the CFL on CBC. We're tied at 3 in Montreal. Monday, the new season of Doctor Who continues. David Tennant stars as the Doctor, traveling through space and time and coming face to face with a variety of menacing foes. Doctor Who, Monday at 8 on CBC. Coburn and Darren Diedrich set to take this kick. It's Coburn. Coburn still on his feet. A good return by Avon Coburn, coming up just shy of the 40-yard line. Helping us get closer to the action today is Orlando Steinauer.
Mic'd Up, brought to you by Rogers Wireless, Canada's clearest wireless network.
We're back, baby. We're back. Yeah, let's get this party started. Hey, we on a mission, baby. Let's get this party started.
A couple of turnovers in this one, and that one from Steinauer, the pick, was the second after a fumble. Anthony Calvillo looking for Anderson. It's incomplete.
Yeah, that's just a case of taking your eyes. I think it was Mike Villemek out of the backfield. He's looking upfield to run with the football before he catches it. It's a common thing to do. Been there myself, but you know, again, that patient passing attack from Calvillo. Willing to go short and let the guys run with the football after, not pushing it upfield.
This is something that Calvillo wanted to avoid. 2nd and 10 from the 39. Calvillo finding Edwards, Terrence Edwards, the younger brother of the running back for the Alouettes, short of the first down.
About the 3rd time today we've seen receivers run routes at a depth that's not far enough to pick up the first down. When you're deep in your own end, that's one thing. You need to get a completion, create some space to punt it away, but you're at the 40-yard line. You got to push your route up to 10 yards, deep enough that if you catch it and get tackled, you have the first down.
Bashir Livingston getting set to receive the punt. On Duval, drops to his knees, gets to his feet, and brought down at the 31-yard line by Etienne Boulay. We are tied at 3 here at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. You're watching the CFL on CBC.
Welcome to Ask an Expert. Chris from Edmonton writes, I want to surprise the family with a flat panel TV. Should I go plasma or LCD?
Hey, Chris. Both plasma and LCD make a great gift, but the lighting in your room and how close you sit to the TV...
I'm not Chris. She is.
Surprise!
There's never been a better time to buy a plasma or LCD TV. Future Shop. Cool gifts, expert advice.
The assignment.
A high-stakes poker game at Casino Royale.
The threat.
If you lose, we'll have directly financed terrorism.
The man.
Good evening, Mr. Bond.
In 6 days...
Who is this?
007. You're gonna have to trust me on this. The wait is over.
I'm the money.
Every penny of it. Bond is back. That last hand nearly killed me. Casino Royale.
Pickup and SUV. Gasoline and E85 ethanol. Haul and tow. The all-new 2007 Chevrolet Avalanche, the most flexible vehicle out there.
Welcome back to the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. We're tied at 3 as we get set to begin the second quarter.
I think turnovers. I mean, every coach says it coming into the playoffs. We've seen it so far in the playoffs this year. You can't turn the football over. It would have been 10-0. Alouettes go in and pump that in when they're inside the 10, but the big fumble in the exchange between Calvillo and Edwards. And now, you know, everything else is, you know, Montreal's thrown the ball, I think, a lot better than anyone thought they would. 111 in the first quarter. You just don't do that against the Argos, but the turnovers kept them from having the lead.
Damon Allen has been good on his last 4 passes. Argos first and 10. They give to Ricky Williams. Not a lot of running room for the big back from the Miami Dolphins.
No, not a lot of room, but he found a way to pick up 4 or 5 yards here. It didn't look like anything was there to the right side. Uses his vision, cuts back, and then carries Ricky Bell for about 3 yards, and he picks up 4. I mean, that's a good first down for a run play.
Williams has had 4 carries so far in this one and picked up 21 yards. It's now 2nd and 6 Toronto from the 36. In a noisy Olympic Stadium. Allen complete. And Bruce will have the first down. Now let's go down the sidelines and join Scott Russell. Scotty?
Steve, I have to tell you that Michael Bishop has been very active on the sideline. There's Damon Allen. Bishop is wearing a headset, constant conversations with offensive coordinator Adam Rita. He's had huddles with the receivers Arland Bruce, Michael Palmer, Tony Miles, and R.J. Soward. He's rushing to give last-minute advice to Damon Allen every time he goes in. I don't see animosity or jealousy, but it looks like Bishop is chomping at the bit to get in this football game, and he senses that his chance might come soon if Allen doesn't move it.
Allen has completed his last 5 passes in a row. He's going for 6, and he's going deep. And he was looking for Arland Bruce, and they rule incomplete.
Oh, wow. I think he was in. I mean, this is a far look at it, but I think he's in bounds on this one. I thought his left foot landed.
Will we get a challenge?
Let's take a look at it. All you need is 1 foot now, and the foot has to land first, and you have to have possession. There's his left foot.
Heel.
Wait, now this is interesting because the toe hits first. If you tap it with the toe, obviously he's in, but the heel does come down out of bounds.
That first look was a good one.
Yeah, he's in bounds with the toe, and then the heel comes out. You got to call him out. It's a good call, but what a great catch. I'm not even sure he had. What a great catch, though. He's just a tremendous playmaker for these Argonauts.
Well, Pinball has the flag in his hand.
The other thing is he, we'll take another look at the replay eventually, but is he pushed out of bounds while he's coming down from the defender, while he's in the air?
Here's Jake Ireland.
Is he getting pushed at all? I wouldn't say he's getting pushed there to land out of bounds. And again, though the toe comes down first in bounds, the heel does eventually come down and land out of bounds. I would think making that not a reception.
Good effort on the part of Arland Bruce, one of the premier receivers in the Canadian Football League this season. I would say second only to G. Roy Simon.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, G. Roy Simon and BC, I mean, they're going to throw the ball, and they've had success throwing the ball out there where the Argos haven't. So that makes Arland Bruce's year that much better and that much more exciting. I mean, this guy is as talented as anybody in the league at his position.
I'm not sure what the nature of this conversation is between Pinball Clemens, the Argos head coach, and Jake Ireland. I mean, if you're going to challenge, throw the flag.
I think possession's a question here, too. I mean, does he absolutely, he looks like he... Toronto has withdrawn their challenge. They've withdrawn their challenge. Did they see enough replays on the board that they could withdraw their challenge? But for pinball, I'm sure that conversation is trying to understand what they are saying. Are they saying he didn't have control as he landed out of bounds? Are they saying that he wasn't pushed? Are they saying that, you know, he didn't have his feet in because his heel went out of bounds? Once he understands that, he knows whether it's a challenge or not.
Obviously, the people in the Argo booth up here had a chance to see the replays that we were throwing up. It's 2nd and 10, Toronto from the 45. We're tied at 3. Allen with time has a man open. Ricky Williams, and Williams close to the first down. Ricky Bell there to make the stop.
You know, I'm getting on everybody for throwing these short routes on 2nd and 10, but you put it in the hands of like Ricky Williams, and I haven't seen him that animated this season. Get up and do the old first down mark, fire his arm, but that was great second effort. This guy gives you tremendous effort. Watch how short he is and how many guys it takes to bring him down. He's 5, 6, 7 yards short. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's still not down. He's still fighting. 7 guys getting the helmet on him, and then he gives up and gives the first down mark. Watch him. Yep. He's into it.
They spot the ball at the midfield stripe. Avery down to about the 46, 47 of the Alouettes before being stopped.
I'm glad we talked about this pregame because these guys have brought it together. They look so good where Williams is banging second effort. Here's Avery just slashing through with his quickness. And he's one move away right there from taking that for big yards. And you could see it when we talked to him yesterday. He's excited about football again for the first time since 2002. He says the chemistry between me and Ricky Williams is so good. I'm excited about this again.
The Argos have rushed the ball 8 times for 49 yards. Good fake. Gets Allen some time and pushed out of play at the 42 by Estelle.
Again, we see a designed call for Damon Allen to run the football. Haven't seen a lot of that during the season, but when you run it effectively with both Avery and Ricky Williams, this type of bootleg, a naked bootleg where you have no one out there with you to help, you're just trying to fool the defense, can be effective, and it has been effective twice so far in this football game.
And the Argos bunch formation to the weak side has been very effective.
The Argos have looked good. I mean, they've really struggled on offense throughout the year, and they've looked good today, and they looked good at times last week against Winnipeg.
From the 42, 1st and 10. They give to the big man, Williams. And Williams again is forced back. This Tuesday at 9 on CBC television, Ian Tracy stars in Intelligence. It's a crime drama set in a world of espionage where the rules are, there are no rules. Intelligence, Tuesday at 9 on CBC.
I love no rules. That's good. I like that.
Your kind of world. Ricky Williams has had 6 touches for 36 yards. Allen under pressure and fires deep to nobody. And he took a hit that time.
Showing his experience, nobody open. They did a quick 3-step drop, looking for the hitches all across the board. Everyone hooked up at like 5 yards, and he had a slant inside. Realized he didn't have anything, and again, he took that hit. Talked about the Alouettes have to getting helmets on Damon Allen just to make him uneasy in that pocket, and they're doing it.
Second hit today, that one courtesy of Kai Ellis. Another field goal attempt from Noel Prefontaine. It's wide. It had the legs, but it was wide. Coburn still on his feet. Coburn still has room to run. Coburn with lots of blocking. Coburn, and he runs to the field instead of going wide, and he's brought down. We are tied at 3, but when we come back, the Owls will have the ball in good field position.
Dreaming of big bucks.
Let's make a lot of money.
Scheming to make it happen. A new season, day and time. Ventures, Dreamers, and Schemers. Wednesday at 7:30 on CBC.
Bullied, ripped off, fed up.
Solid pace, big fight.
Underdogs.
Who will win? Who will lose?
Premieres Thursday at 8 on CBC.
I wish I lived closer to the office. Not this close.
This one's only a 10-minute commute.
Find your perfect place with RE/MAX. View homes like never before with Google Earth on RE/MAX.ca.
Play Safeway $1 Million Touchdown to win playoffs. You could win $100,000 or a 7-night all-inclusive stay for 2 at the Oasis Cancun. Flights courtesy of ConquestVacations.com. A Prima 20-inch LCD TV. The Wall Personal Grooming Package, a Hitachi Cordless Drill Kit, or a Eureka Boss Bagless Upright Vacuum. Watch the Grey Cup on November 19th to see if you're our $100,000 winner. Shop at Safeway. Ingredients for life.
I've wanted a treehouse my whole life. I mean a real treehouse.
Find your perfect place with RE/MAX. View homes like never before with Google Earth on RE/MAX.ca. Outstanding agents, outstanding results.
A 77-yard missed field goal return from Avon Coburn has the Owls in good position.
And these long field goals, the pressure is on your big guys now to make tackles. Watch, you'll see guys like Eric England in there. You see Washburn trying to make a tackle. You see Keeping in there. Look, there's Washburn right there. He's not going to make a play in the open field against Avon Coburn. And watch the cutback right. If he stays wide, he's got a touchdown. Cuts right back into Kevin Ivan.
1st and 10. Edwards with some valuable yardage after breaking through that hole out of the double tight end formation.
Such a game of momentum, and that long field goal miss and that spark by Coburn puts him in good field position. And here you go, a big back following his big hogs through a huge line and fighting for extra yards. This is Robert Edwards at his best. He's banging up in that hole and pick up 8, 9, 10 yards a chunk. And the more times he carries it, the better he is.
1st and 10 from the 34. Calvillo underthrows the intended receiver that time. Ben Cahoon, first time he's looked in Cahoon's direction.
Yeah, he had him. Anthony had a little pressure. There was a couple people. I mean, Robert Edwards was open short out of the backfield, and that ball was actually touched, I think, by Keeping. Just deflected at the line of scrimmage.
Calvillo, one of few quarterbacks in professional football today to call his own plays. He gets a lot of assistance from Kevin Strasser, but he has the right of refusal. 2nd and 10. Calvillo goes over the top with the throw that time, looking for Watkins. It's incomplete, so that's 2 passes not well thrown by AC.
No, he short hopped both of them, and listen, this is pro football. You got to make those throws, but that's a tough throw. Ball's on your left hash. You got to make the out route all the way to the right sideline. Ball's got to travel 40 yards in the air, and it's got to be on a bullet. So it's a tough throw, but hey, they're still in field goal range. They didn't turn it over this time.
So Damon DeVal will get a shot from about the 41 to put the Owls in front. Well within his range. And goes through. The field goal is good. Montreal lead Toronto 6-3 in the 2nd quarter here in Montreal.
Don't.
Arnold. Arnold. Arnold.
In
other news, a woman found an alligator in her swimming pool today. Sources say the woman initially mistook the animal for the inflatable variety. No one was hurt, but she said she won't be making the same mistake anytime soon.
Camera 1. Bill. Hello?
There are places where your best friend isn't a dog. It's a Toyota truck. Everything we've learned out there has gone in here. Introducing the 2007 Tacoma. Big, tough, and with a V6 that makes some V8s nervous. It's very powerful.
You're watching the Scotiabank East Championship, the CFL on CBC. The Owls up by 3 in the second quarter.
It's a game of inches, Steve, and we saw Prefontaine miss it, and what happened then? Doink! But this time it goes in. I mean, that hits it and comes straight down. Not only you don't get the 3 points, but you don't get the 1 point. If it hits the upright, it comes straight down. In Duval's case, it hits it and goes in, so he gets 3 points. It's just these little things in these huge playoff games.
Doink?
Doink! I don't know if it's a doink or a ding.
First time we've seen Avery and Williams line up in that formation. They gave it to Avery.
Yeah, for the Argos, it's stick to your game plan. You're running the ball extremely well with Williams and with Avery. Damon Allen's been throwing the football well. Keep pounding it. This is what has made you successful towards the end of the season. Keep doing it again. Avery picks up 4 yards on first down, gets him in a 2nd and 6, a very manageable down and distance.
Talking to Avery yesterday, he said he really enjoys being in the same backfield with Ricky Williams. 2nd and 6, and Allen is dropped. Dwayne Taylor.
Well, we said they had to get pressure on Damon Allen. This constitutes pressure. Taylor, a backup middle linebacker, coming right through the middle lane, and what he does is it's a delayed blitz. So at middle linebacker, you take your drop like you're going to get into coverage. All the offensive linemen have to account for their people, and then you shoot hard through the opening. And boy, he came like a bullet. What a shot right through there. He got the sack on Damon Allen.
Allen talking to the backup, Michael Bishop, following the sack. 3rd and 13 for the Argos. Prefontaine to punt. Ball, but the Owls have it. So when we come back, Anthony Calvillo and the Owls will be on offense.
Ask. Ask about it.
Ask your doctor about it.
Just ask. Ask about Celebrex. Ask your doctor about Celebrex. He's the expert.
1st and 10 Owls from the 43. They give to Edwards. Edwards off the right side out of the double tight formation, picking up 5 or 6 yards.
Yeah, I think it's been a long time in the Canadian Football League since we've seen teams depend on their running game so much this year. Of course, everyone knows about Charles Roberts, the 1,600 plus yards he had in the great year, but Edwards' great year. Williams and Avery now coming to life. I mean, the running backs in this league are really starting to dominate.
They're in the 6-pack formation. 2nd and 5. Calvillo pumps once, buys a little bit of time, now running right. Flag down. Calvillo slides across the 50-yard line at the Argos.
While Anthony was scrambling, there were so many big hits. It's tough to see what they're going to
contact on the receiver. Throttle number 32. Penalty decline.
Yeah, that's a normal call. When you see quarterbacks start to scramble, then it's freelancing from your receivers. And what defensive backs normally do at that point, or someone in coverage, in this case Chuck Winters, is they try to grab on because it's tough to stay with them in open field.
Calvillo rushed the ball 28 times over the course of the regular season for 185 yards, an average of 6.6 per carry.
He picked up a great block from Luke Fritz while he was scrambling on that last one.
Swings it out to the left side. Terrence Edwards still on his feet, but they're going to rule that he went out of play.
Edwards is in not huge numbers this year, but he has really played well later in the season. A very athletic and playmaking type of receiver. Makes a great catch here just to go down, catch it in his hands, and he picks up 6 or so yards and barely stepped out of bounds, or else it would have been a lot more.
2nd and 4, Montreal from the Argos 43. Calvillo good on 6 of 11 passes for 117 yards. This time he gives to Edwards. Edwards, great second effort. Gets down inside the 35-yard line. Again from that double tight end formation.
Absolutely, from the double tights, and what teams have learned and the Alouettes have learned against these Argos, your 2nd and 4 or 5, it's not an automatic passing down. Look at the big guy run and break tackles. You can pick up first downs on 2nd and 5, 2nd and 10 against these Argos by running the football.
That's what Edwards did so well in the last game of the regular season against the Argos. Little play action from AC. Wow. And he finds his man, Kerry Watkins, on that slant in eventually.
Calvillo looking like a little kid here in his backyard. Little pump fake, getting Fletcher to jump up in the air. And I think the play fake has a lot to do with it. Now watch Fletcher come off the edge and try to knock it down. Just a little pump fake, step up in the pocket, buys himself just a little bit of time and hits Watkins in stride.
1st and 10, Alouettes from the Argos, 19. Watkins, 3 catches for 69 yards. They give to Robert Edwards. Edwards crashes down inside the 15-yard line. Brought down by Chuck Winters, who had a solid game against the Blue Bombers last weekend.
Yeah, filling in for Antonius Bonner. He had the big forced fumble on Charles Roberts last week, but here's the 2 tight end formation, body on a body, a little bit of a tug and a hold from Wilson up on the top. Receivers, of course, not being used to blocking. They have strange technique, but at least he's trying. I love the double tight end formation. It buys more time for Calvillo and also good run formation.
2nd time for the Owls in the red zone. Calvillo forced out of play inside the 10 by Orlando Steinauer.
All bets are off, right? There's no protecting the quarterbacks. It comes playoff time. We've seen it from Allen and we're seeing it from Calvillo. Another play fake gets to the edge. It's that Sally Rand where he's going to give it. If the end stays wide, he's going to fake it if the end collapses, and then he forces the edge. It's run pass. Puts his head down on Steinauer and picks up the 1st down. Just a great effort by Calvillo.
2 rushes, 19 yards for AC. It is now 1st and goal to go. Montreal from the 8-yard line. Edwards with a hole, but it closes quickly as he crosses the 5-yard line.
This is what happens when Calvillo pulls it, and we've seen him pull it maybe 3 times so far this football game. It keeps those defenders at home so that they don't rush to go in and tackle the back so quickly, though. A great hit by Mike O'Shea there. And the ends stay wide. That opens up the running lanes for the running back. And as the game goes on, that's going to be very effective for the Alouettes.
Edwards, 9 carries for 46 yards. The Owls are 2nd and goal from Toronto's 4-yard line. Calvillo from the shotgun. Gives to Edwards. Edwards sees some daylight. Touchdown! Edwards! Montreal!
Well, here it is again. It's just Edwards in this offensive line. Paul Lambert Brian Chu just doing their job, right? Wearing down that Argo defense that they know is vulnerable versus the run, but Edwards in his second effort was really, that was the big fact about that play. He's just didn't want to be denied as far as getting into the end zone.
Little early movement there from the Argos. They'll probably do this one over again before Duval even got to the ball. Remember last year's final, the difference it made when Edwards went out of the game because it brought on
Eric Lapointe, who had a great second half, but Edwards doesn't look like he wants that to happen today. He's running the ball hard, he's running well. Eric Lapointe, of course, a great option in my mind when he's healthy. But this, I think the big story is this offensive line. I mean, we saw them struggle this season. They certainly did. A lot of sacks on Calvillo, but they had a little attitude yesterday. You know, Paul Lambert, my good friend and ex-teammate, got on me.
Outside, corner number 595. The foul occurred prior to the snap. The play was killed. 5 yards will be applied on the kickoff, and we will reattempt the contact.
Eric England guilty of the offside there, so they'll do it again.
Yeah, they'll just kick it. They'll get the 5 yards on the kickoff. But back to the offensive line, you know, he thought we were getting on him a little bit. That, you know, in the long story, the long and the short of it is that they were motivated to play a big football game today, and they've come out and done that.
Duval puts it through, and the L's up the count to 10.
Quitting smoking? Nicoderm can help you double your chances of success, too. Only Nicoderm has patented smart dose technology. And hey, it's the patch most recommended by doctors and pharmacists.
Rolade Soft Chews. The delicious taste that's chewy, not chalky.
Some things you just can't copy, like Wendy's original spicy chicken sandwich. A big, juicy, seasoned whole breast filet, covered with our own fiery blend of peppers and spices for more meat and more heat, so you can do what tastes right.
Having trouble finding a technician you can trust? Come to One Stop, your complete automotive service center. Top quality parts, licensed technicians, servicing all makes and models, backed by a nationwide guarantee. One Stop Service, quality auto repair you can trust.
Di Serrano Sour, Di Serrano Martini.
Di Serrano on the rocks.
Di Serrano on the rocks. Coming out.
Di Serrano's warm and sensual taste makes you wish it would never end. Di Serrano, you can pass the pleasure around.
Welcome back to Montreal, where that man, Robert Edwards, has just put up the first major score of the game for the Owls.
Yeah, and it's all up front. You're going to see Okeke, Paulie Lambert, Brian Chu, and right here you'll see Scott Flory, and watch him man-on-man up front and let your back do the work. That's just a great job. You know, you got a talented back. Just get body on a body down near the goal line. If you get a little push, that's great. But let your back do the rest.
He was right here. We had on him.
Scoring drive took 4 minutes and 15 seconds. The kickoff following the major score. Avery still on his feet. Great effort by Avery. Dives across the 30-yard line. So when we come back, Damon Allen and the Argos will have the ball on offense.
The toughest in the land deserves the toughest truck. Vote for the Warrior of the Year. GMC and CBC want to know who you think should be this year's Warrior. Log on to cbc.ca/warrior and vote for the player tough enough to win a truck. Win one for yourself. Log on to newsierra.gmcanada.com for a chance to win an all-new 2007 GMC Sierra. But like any Warrior, you can't win if you don't play. Log on now.
Why would AIM Trimark invest your money here?
No one makes winter tires like us Finns.
Hang on a minute. Who else but you Finns needs winter tires 8 months of the year?
Exactly.
Let's get out of here. We can't invest in a market of just 5 million people.
That's Russia, isn't it?
It is.
It's a huge market.
right on your doorstep.
At AIM Trimark, we see what others miss. Knowing pays. AIM Trimark.
Some things you just can't copy, like Wendy's original spicy chicken sandwich. A big, juicy, seasoned whole breast filet, covered with our own fiery blend of peppers and spices, for more meat and more heat, so you can do what tastes right.
Let me tell you something, pal.
Forced to share an office and a job. Go team!
Take it outside.
For Ben and Sarah, it's hard enough just getting along.
Well, happy for you.
See, now that's concise. Rumors, Mondays at 9:30 on CBC.
Don't forget our warrior of the game. We want you to log on to cbc.ca/CFL in the second half to vote for the player who you think showed the heart and determination of a warrior. We'll show you the winner in our post-game show, Warrior of the Game, brought to you by the all-new 2007 GMC Sierra. Would it be Anthony Calvillo, do you think, or Robert Edwards, who get my vote right now?
Yeah, Edwards is a pretty good bet.
1st and 10, Toronto from the 31. Allen puts it up, completes to Ricky Williams. Williams dodges one tackle, a second tackle, finally brought down after spinning to try and get away.
Now here's the question, I think, for the Argos. You've gone through another first half where with 2.5 minutes left, you have 3 points. I don't think Damon Allen has looked that bad in the first half, but there's just no spark there. So you got to go in if you don't score here at halftime and think, do we see Bishop? Do we make a change? They need a spark. Got to get more vertical.
Pinball Clemens says it's a coaching decision. It's nothing personal. If it's going to help the team, he'll pull the plug on Allen. Allen under pressure, still on his feet. Allen does a good job of recovering. Arkel Trulock is there to bring him down.
And this is what I'm talking about. And Damon a little slow to get up, but I mean his effort and his execution is there. He's completing passes, nothing here. Again, the pressure from the Alouettes. He does a lot with nothing on this play to pick up the first down. I mean, that's just a tremendous effort. And yet we look at the scoreboard and there's only 3 points.
From their own 43, the Argos are 1st and 10. They trail 13-3. To Arland Bruce the third, and Bruce goes nowhere. Good coverage from the Als secondary. Sanchez leading the way.
Yeah, good coverage going to Arland Bruce, kind of your go-to guy, but he had 101 down below with Tony Miles. And again, Tony Miles won on his route, and I thought that's where they would go. There's the short pass, and Damon's been known throughout his career to take. He really wants those completions, right? Keep the chains moving, short passes, let your receivers do the work. But at some point, you've got to take that chance and go for the big play.
And this is a big play for the Argos. 2nd and 8 from the 45. Out of the shotgun. Allen under pressure and brought down. Adriano Belli.
There's a happy guy who was with the Ticats for most of the year, then came over to Montreal, now has a chance to go back to the Grey Cup. And here you see what Damon Allen sees, nothing. Nobody open, everybody covered. I was talking about Tony Miles. Well, he was up top just getting jammed, didn't even get off the line of scrimmage. And the Alouettes are flying. They're getting those helmets on Damon Allen, which I said they had to do early.
Second sack of the day. First it was Taylor, and then Belli. Prefontaine will get this punt away from his own 25-yard line. Good kick. Coburn at the 20, 25, still on his feet. Coburn up to the 33-yard line. 53-yard punt, 14-yard return. Don't forget the Canadian Tire at the half. Elliot Friedman and the panel will analyze his first half of play here in Montreal. And back in the day, one of the greats for the Argos, Joe Kroll. Adriano Belli with a sack for the Owls, coming at perfect time in this one.
Yeah, they've been able to get that pressure on Damon Allen and just make him uncomfortable in that pocket. Not allow him enough time to go upfield.
Less than a minute till halftime. Edwards gets the first down for Montreal.
This is just what we saw last week by Winnipeg. They took over the football game with their running game in Charles Roberts, and I wasn't sure if Edwards could do that. I didn't know if he was the back to be able to do that like Charles Roberts is, but boy, he's looked great today. He's so strong, so elusive, making that first guy miss.
AC has a man open. Ben Cahoon.
Yeah, this is Ben's first catch of the day, and again, it's coming off that kind of Sally ran where Anthony has the option to either give it or pull it and get around the end. He decides to pull it, but now it's not there again, so he has to pull up. So he also has that third option, which is to throw it, and he throws it to Ben Cahoon and picks up a first down.
Edwards making people miss. 11 carries for 62 yards and 1 touchdown. And he gets the call again. Stopped short of the midfield stripe. Only 30 seconds showing on the scoreboard clock here at the Big O.
Yeah, you have 30 seconds. I mean, realistically, for Montreal and Anthony Calvillo, you're thinking, let's get in field goal range, give Duval a makeable field goal, try to get the ball inside the 40, and we can get out of here up 16-3.
Calvillo, 2nd and 7. Fires complete. Terrence Edwards that time.
This time we see that free safety blitz from Steinauer, taking the free safety out of the middle. Calvillo just being patient. There's nobody back here. Right there, look at that. They get that look a lot. I'll tell you, Anthony Calvillo will take that shot eventually.
Well, Montreal have a timeout, and they're going to use it. And that's a good call.
You know, you're really in field goal range right now for Duval. He can make a 52-yarder. I mean, it's not your high percentage one. Realistically, you want to get inside the 35, get it close to 42 and under, but now it's a big play. You can do anything right here. You can run the football, though without a timeout left. You got to get up there quickly and spike it after you pick up the first down. But you have plenty of time. You actually have time to run 3 plays if you're the Alouettes.
Calvillo. Under his center, Brian Chu. Gives to Coburn. And Coburn goes off the left side for the first down.
Yeah, so what happens is the clock stops right now with 17, so until they reset the chains, and then they're going to blow it in. So he's got to call it and get to the huddle, and that offensive line again, just blowing them off the line of scrimmage. So now they're up, they're at the line of scrimmage, ready to snap the ball as it's blown in.
Calvillo out of the shotgun, hurry up offense. Calvillo forced to scramble, gets the pass away complete. Ben Cahoon.
Yeah, that's a huge completion. It gets the completion of Ben Cahoon, gets him in a better field goal range, but also gets him out of bounds. Now you got 5 seconds on the 26-yard line, and you come in and you kick your field goal. It was really close to Calvillo being over the line of scrimmage, but stayed just behind it before he threw it.
And from an iffy opportunity, it should become a chip shot for Damon Duval.
Yeah, I wonder we'll see Coach Clemens maybe challenge whether he was over the line of scrimmage or not, because I see a flag from the Argos. And that's certainly worth an opportunity.
Here's Jake Ireland. Second time in the game that Ireland has come over to talk to Pinball. That was a short conversation.
Well, he's going to tell him he's going to... cross the line of scrimmage, which absolutely worth a shot, right? I mean, this is a big, it's 15-yard difference. So I'm sure we'll see from our replay whether he was across or not. And it was pretty close by the eye. So the line of scrimmage, which I didn't see, was just inside the yard line right here. He's over the line of scrimmage. I believe he's over the line of scrimmage, but it's really close. I think I'm gonna have to see it. So it's just after the 40, just beyond the 40. Maybe the 41-yard line. Oh, that's too close to call. That's fine. There's a little bit closer look. So we're saying 41, and he throws it about the 41.5, maybe right at the 41. I think, and who knows, right? We've seen these calls go either way, but I think that they'll say that's good, and the play that will stand on the field, because it has to be overturned. It has to be definitive.
That's something you can't teach a quarterback. It's instinct that tells him he is at or near the line of scrimmage. It's a feel. It's inside the gut. And somebody like Calvillo, who's been playing as long as he has, should be able to sense that.
Yeah, he'll vaguely know that, all right, the ball is just outside the 40, but it's really his presence of kind of the line of scrimmage of where to get rid of the ball. Of course, the penalty, if he were to be over the line of scrimmage, would be an illegal forward pass beyond the line of scrimmage, but we'll see how they roll. But you make such a great point. These guys like Calvillo and Damon Allen that are so experienced at buying time behind the line of scrimmage, right? Avoiding the rush and not necessarily taking off to run with it, as we listen to the call.
After review, there's no definitive proof that the quarterback was completely across the line of scrimmage when the ball was released. Ruling on the field stand, first down.
Inconclusive. They couldn't see it on the replay.
Good call. Absolutely. He was right about the line of scrimmage. And again, nice play by Anthony Calvillo. Puts him in good field goal range to get out of the first half, up 16-3.
Providing, of course, Duval is good.
That's right. We should never make that assumption, right, Steve?
It should be a chip shot for the Owls.
Oh, he's gonna ice him now.
Timeout.
Why not? Let him think about it. Toronto's got a timeout, and they just used it.
Icing the kicker. These are big points. The game at the end of last week against Winnipeg, that huge turning point when Damon Allen threw the interception right before half. They go in and score that. Toronto was off and running, but threw the interception.
Here's the question going into the room at halftime. As you have speculated, will Pinball pull the plug on Damon Allen and start Michael Bishop?
That's a great question.
And don't forget the Scotiabank West Championship at BC Place Stadium in Vancouver. The Rough Riders are on the coast to take on the BC Lions and Jason Claremont immediately following this East Championship game. Duval. And there was early movement on the part of the Argos. Younger wanted to get a head start on that one.
Yeah. Well, you come off a timeout and you put something together, and then you come out and you go all sides and get them 5 yards closer.
Outside, corner number 26, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
I guess not that big of a difference. A 32-yarder or a 27-yarder, not that big of a difference. So why not take a chance to get that big jump?
Here's an interesting stat. The Argos, when trailing at the half this year, 2006, are 1-7.
That is interesting. Very intriguing. You're a bastion of knowledge, Steve.
Duval with the field goal. Still 2 seconds showing on the scoreboard clock here at the Olympic Stadium. But the Alouettes now in front of the Argos, 16-3.
Yeah, Jim Pop got to be happy, but you nailed it right on the head, and I'm sure our panel's going to talk about it at halftime. Do you make the move? Where a week ago, that came right out of the blue. No one thought Bishop was coming in, except for Adam Rita and Coach Clemens. Well, this week we saw what Bishop can do, so now people are saying, hey, is Bishop going to come in and save the day again?
The last 3 times the Owls have had the ball, it's been a field goal, a touchdown, and a field goal.
I tell you what, I can't wait to hear what Kahari Jones and Greg and Sean Millington have to say about this with Elliott. I'll definitely be tuning in.
To the members of the panel, we will have our ears on, so to speak.
Because again, we touched about it in the first half. Damon Allen has not played that poorly. I mean, you could say Bishop brings kind of that big, deep threat. And that's a similar look we saw to last week, Damon, when after he got pulled, it's just kind of, what am I doing wrong? I'm actually playing well. But Bishop, he's stronger, a little bit stronger arm. He runs the ball a little bit better than Damon Allen. Just after last week's performance, you would think maybe they'll make a move.
Allen, 8 for 11 in the passing department for 59 yards, 7 first downs.
Yeah, that's all. It's stats. 8 for 11 is not bad. He's run the ball fairly decent. The big number that matters is that 3 on the scoreboard, and it continues to be that way when Damon Allen is at quarterback.
Lack of consistency and finish on the part of the Argos, a problem all season long. And it's resurfacing again here in Montreal in the Scotiabank East Championship. 16-3 the count, 2 seconds remaining. Time for the kick. The Argos would like a big return all the way to the end zone. Got to hang on to the ball first, and that will kill the clock. Ivan comes up with it. And the teams head for the room here at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. And the hometown Alouettes not disappointing this crowd of 30,000 plus. They head to halftime leading 16-3. Here's Scott Russell with the head coach of the Owls, Jim Popp. Scott?
Yes, Steve, here is Jim Popp. How much has it been part of the game plan to have your defense hyperactive and to get after Damon Allen on every play?
Well, we talked about it. You know, you got to execute it. We've been able to execute it most of the time. We've got our fans involved, which is very important, and we just need to stay on top of it because they got some big play capability.
Jim, you've got a lead, but how concerned are you that it might have been a much bigger lead but for an interception and a fumble?
Yeah, you know what? It was very concerning, and but I'm very happy with how our team bounced back after turning the ball over twice in the first half.
Jim, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jim Popp, Steve.
Thank you, Scott. Jim Popp alluding to those 2 turnovers, but it didn't hurt the Alouettes. We're at the half in Montreal. The Owls lead 16-3.